In a controversial move, lawmakers in Florida have passed legislation to ban kids under 16 from social media. Now, this is fascinating, and I'm kind of a little bit in the middle here. Wes, the legislation seeks to protect the mental health of our kids. What are your thoughts?
Well, if anybody has tracked the Senate hearings where Meta has been absolutely dragged over the coals for, I think it was a few weeks ago, for a few weeks. And some of the things that come out of that, which I won't repeat on air, were quite frankly very, very alarming. So what that demonstrated was the catch nets the safety catch nets for our children that we thought were within the apps clearly are not. And the person's then working for Meta to provide further, like a physical catch net, safety catch nets for children, obviously weren't working as well as they thought, and in some cases not working at all. And what has also been demonstrated, I believe, as generations change, is sadly and respectively, and it's not the case certainly for all parents, but parenting isn't parenting anymore. So we can't rely on parents. They either may be too busy or they're not parenting the kids with enough supervision, and we certainly can't rely on Meta to provide the safety catch net appropriate to protect our children. So I think laws like this will start seeing come into place more and more.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the mental health aspect, well, there's been 1,000 studies that have proven that the mental health of the youth has gone down when they become excessive on these apps.
No, you're right. And look, I know this space very well. I was a big part of pushing for the laws that we've got in this country, but it's an ever-evolving space. And the only concern I have is when I travelled the country and met with so many kids who were struggling immensely, so much of the upside of social media is what helped them survive really tough times. They found communities online that were incredibly supportive. So I kind of argue, why are we just going to ban them? Ban the companies and force the companies to do the right thing and then let them use the good side of it.
I absolutely agree, and that those Meta hearings, as you say, there needs to be greater accountability. And the fact is that these companies can have the most finessed algorithms for pulling you in, but they don't have those finessed algorithms for protecting you. Look, I'm not really a fan of blanket bans at 16. I feel that education is key here, and I think that the liaison between schools and parents and the gathering together, the old parental tribe, when your friend's mum would ring and check if you had got home on time. I think that tribe, that alignment between parents that basically says, look, we were too slow with seatbelts. We've been too slow with vaping. We are not taking care of our kids' mental health, and we really, need to examine them more. So if my kid's going to put their phone away at 7 o'clock at night and have a couple of hours of quiet time with family or chatting or playing games or reading, can we try to talk about that as a group of parents, as a tribe, that all our kids do that together, and so you're not feeling like one kid is missing out. But it's got to be a parent-driven. It's got to come from parents and educators.
No, you both make really good points. Now, finally, I'm desperate to get this one in. A man demands his ex-wife gives back the kidney he gave her, or $2.3 million. Look, I suspect he'd prefer the cash. But look, Ange, you've been through a separation, so have I. I mean, it kind of, it gets messy, doesn't it?
It can get messy. Mine was fortunately reasonably amicable, which I'm one of the great joys of my life. But man, this guy, sorry, you've given her that. Presumably she may have raised his children. So, had she not been there, how much money would he have lost by not having, let's just say she died because of lack of the kidney. He'd have had a lot more responsibilities, right? Honestly, if you're going to go around with that level of bitterness, you're not going to have a very happy life.
Wes, he's actually a doctor, and I heard an interview where he said something to the effect of, I only gave her my kidney because I thought it would improve our marriage, and it didn't work, so I want it back.
This one's easy, Erin. A man who gives his wife a kidney out of love, and obviously I don't know the full details, but the dire circumstances she would have been in for that, to then ask for it back, that's quite easy. This guy is morally bankrupt, as I think Ange said, karma, I believe, will come around and pay him a visit.
I do also want to acknowledge some of the men watching who are nodding, going, this bloke has the right idea. We all come from different places. Legends, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.